Okay, so I'm now at home. I returned back from father. I can sort it out all the issues in a proper sequence. I was thinking about I'm gonna go and complain about this particular issue here. The thing is that I will upgrade this issue to a part number 2 pertaining to this video right here about my immigration to USA. As a matter of fact, I titled the video, "Who and How Hired Barack Obama to Get Me Killed?" This is the video right here. This is like part number 2, I would say. And this is very important. It's well described, the stuff that went on, but there is few changes pertaining to this stuff. And what better than to use the opportunity from Bill Clinton and George Bush, who came out even in support to me with this news here. This is the one. Oh, this is what they listed so proudly right at the top of the... You see, this is the problem. Once I click that shit, it's gone. See, this is the stuff that I just don't like it. No. You might think, oh, well, you know, might be... Let's do something else. That sucks, because this is second time I am recording this stuff. I'm trying to make sense for viewers to understand. So that's again a different picture, but the picture that I was just getting a few moments ago, it's gone. George Bush and Bill Clinton were listed like this here. I'm going to demonstrate you because I have several recordings of these people advertised on the Yahoo. Yeah, so I decided I'm gonna video record this stuff again. Yeah, so funny. I started this video. Now the Vivaldi browser, from what it's pertaining to the issue of what I described as Windows File Explorer, or folder, I should say, with this watch here. Well, this is the watch that Prince Charles wanted me to purchase. The watch as you see right there, this kind of watch. That's what he liked, this kind of watch. The design, the case of the watch, that's what he wanted. Of course, he had a watch like this that was worth a lot of money, a few thousand whatever pounds, but figure out that I would not have so much money, and could buy myself the one for €5, and these watches were extremely cheap. And to me personally, it's probably because of the person who suggested me to buy one. I don't know. I had a reserve, and today I'm not happy about these people at all. So yeah, you can ask him about this watch. This is what he asked me to purchase, actually, this watch right here. That's what he insisted he would purchase if he would have no money. So Prince Charles even became advisor about what he would purchase if he had no money. Such a nice person. Lunatic in a real sense. He hijacked me to Canada in 2018 once I immigrated to Poland, to hijack me to Canada in beginning 2018, and this shit went on in 2019 and 2020. by gesturing me on using YouTubers who went out there to build housing, just plain buying yourself a piece of land and then just park a trailer over there or something like that, on how I should start the new life in Poland. Wow. Now that is what you call truly, truly a lunatic. Now, I was not interested in stopping this stuff against me. He actually started to enjoy, as he explained me, he stated to me, to see the survival skills, basically, like this. That became enthusiastic about my survival skills with broken spine at age, I don't know how old I was, 47, 48, dumped over there somewhere in Poland, escaping psychiatry hospital in Ljubljana, Polje, here in Slovenia. And this is a lunatic. This is a sick lunatic, sadist. Sadist is what you call this. Maniac. Anyhow, this is not the video about the watch. I am just mentioning this stuff here randomly. This is about these folders here that you see right there. And I mentioned you the news, right? Yeah, the news was right here. The news was right at the top of the Yahoo page, just like exactly the way you see it. And this is the news that is the most important to me. Now this news is gone because it's like this. You see, that's why I went to the other browser. That's why I was using a Firefox, Mozilla Firefox browser, for you to see that the news is gone. This news was on since yesterday, and now the news is gone. You can't see that news no more. The news is gone. The thing is that when I clicked on a certain link, it appears that it's not only because I would click on that link, but they're waiting till I would click on the link. That means that it's something important. They always list this stuff right at the top of the page. And once I actually really click on that link, the whole news is gone into oblivion. Like, you won't even see one anymore. And it just happened so that today I'm talking to you about the folders. I'm talking to you about the issue which eventually pertained to the Central Intelligence Agency Federal Bureau investigation file pertaining to my case. And this is what they refer to me during MK Ultra in a very abstract, crazy way as a folder, or basically play a game to remind of the brainwash pertaining to the politicians. So you don't see that news anymore. That news is gone, right? You can see that. I can go and I can reload. This is totally other browser I'm using right now. This is Mozilla Firefox, which I'm even using, and the two are gone. What is actually funny is that you can still see the Love Boat involved in MK Ultra also. You can see his news, you can see over there, but you won't see anymore a news which was heavily used during MK Ultra for brainwash purposes beginning the 2014. That was the two came together talking about George Bush and Bill Clinton already in 2012 when they threw me into psychiatric hospital. They started to come up with, well, every time, whenever they did something more and more impossible, the situation was becoming, these people becoming more and more and more insanely demanding with impossible requests. So, as you see, a Love Boat guy is right there. I am using, right now, I am using Windows Movie Player, what's the name of this stuff here, is it? To to demonstrate you what I just recorded. This is the time is here 16:05, and right now is 17:54, and this recording I ended one at 17:09. 17:10. I'm washing something over there. I'm doing a wash, but yeah, this stuff that you see was with you on a Yahoo page till I actually clicked on one. And once I clicked on that link, it appears that it was gone for every one of you too, not only for me, but gone of the Yahoo front page. That's what they told me also they will be doing, not only with the Yahoo, but also on other media. So I guess that I probably really I might be just using this video, which I am not gonna, I'm gonna re-record this stuff and make this more so nothing. This, the last time that I saw this was 16:07 till I actually clicked the link to the President George W. Bush used to call Clinton whatever. So we're gonna get to this issue right there, but it's very important to me. So this is when I click the link right there. Time is 16:09, boom, and it takes me to this thing here, and that's when the Yahoo pretty much removed from you folks the news from the front page of the Yahoo. What's the whole story behind this stuff here, behind this news? I'm gonna go out back. This here is where we're gonna be. Well, in details exactly about the stuff that went on. The two came up together once they threw me in a psychiatric hospital with upgraded crime against me, and got an idea that the best way to resolve this case would be to either kill me or at least keep me silent in respect to crime that potentially would affect the two American presidents, that is George W. Bush and Bill Clinton. That makes sense? I think it does. What kind of crime would affect the two the most? Well, the 9/11 is what the two have inseparably common with one another the most, and really not whatever was done abroad, but really what could be potentially fatal for the two is the stuff I have pointed out on my blog, also times just the way you see it today. Even I changed the front page. I put right at the top of it a beautiful little commercial for well, for my MK Ultra allies. I think I did pretty good. I think that stuff, that if you have any doubts about 9/11, you shouldn't have any anymore about the 9/11. I cannot go and talk to you about what kind of explosives were used and how this stuff was done, because not to my knowledge would I have any about that, but from my perspective, from my point of view, I can point you out the stuff that confirms that these people were behind 9/11. I don't have the knowledge pertaining to, or maybe possibly I even have, I don't know, because I did not study 9/11. I did not go into the depth. I did not go and study and, pay deep thoughts to what could have been even involved in MK Ultra. I did not do any of that stuff. Not that I would know of. But I know the stuff I am talking about on the other hand. I know about what went on, and it's the stuff I have described in great detail right here. It's Barack Obama who hired one to get me killed. And it's about immigration to the United States beginning in 1995. In a little bit I'm going to get to this issue, but the first thing that I want to clarify, and it's not easy at all from the point of view of brainwashed individual, to give the whole account pertaining to these two guys here, to this news here, to the President George Bush used to call Bill Clinton for advice, and his message was consistently to get out this here. This would be the stuff here. This will be the stuff here. This kind of stuff. It's like this. I did spoke something little at home for elderly people about this folder issue, for which my mom got so excited. I did this as a father and did not like that at all. I don't blame her really for that. It's okay, it's understandable. I just wanted to video record. I was nervous. I didn't want to miss on this thing here. I wanted to have the proof about this stuff. I'm not happy about this stuff here. No. The answer is no. I don't want that stuff deleted. There are many reasons of why I don't want that stuff deleted. One of them is I have to record this video. Now it became really, really important for me to do this, so to do just that. The folder disappeared. The folder, I noticed the folder, the fucking folder disappeared me from here. It was gone. The folder disappeared me. I never in my life played with what you see here. Not a single time in my life have I done this. Why would I not do that? Because I never ever in my lifetime had the necessity to do this. So I'm going to repeat to you, in my lifetime, I have never ever, until today, I said until today, did this stuff here, did you see? This. I've not done it. That's period. 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 Amen. You know, I can say amen. That's it. Today, however, I realized that that's exactly what happened again. The fucking folder is gone. And I said, again. Yes, it did happen again. And at Home for Elderly People, I was so excited about this shit that I completely forgot about what already took place. This here does not pertain to the Windows Explorer or this folder, whatever this shit is here. What's the name of this crap? Manage. Isn't it Explorer, this stuff? No, the Explorer is the other one. Yeah, that's right, that's a browser. But, okay, so this is a folder, Windows folder, whatever. Bye-bye. That's that. I got excited. I'm not used to it. And what excited me the most was the news which I demonstrated you, and it's now gone. This one here. The President George Bush used to call Bill Clinton for advice, and his message was consistently to get out of the way, whatever. This here. Excited because of this, because it was part of the brainwash. That's why I'm so excited. And so, the original brainwash pertaining to what I demonstrated you right now was directly connected to this issue here, to the browser. This is what George Bush told me. He came in our house and he started to talk about the importance of my not getting myself into anything that would have potentially jeopardized him. And Bill Clinton assisted him. This started to be in 2012. The Bill Clinton immediately rushed him, and I'm not going to say to the rescue because the two worked together. But the first one who addressed me with this issue was George Bush. Year was 2012, and the one who came to fortify that stuff was Bill Clinton, because they wouldn't be able to help me. Now, one of the foremost, I would be done. The way they looked at me, it's like you look on somebody down, basically. You're looking down on somebody. You know, these people like to give an impression, all through very nice, they like to give an impression like they are big time in charge. Like they're like, not like they are, but pretty much you're nobody depending on them. And so these are your allies, your owners, just like this. And it's not in your interest to bring this up because you would make problem for them. And of course that they wouldn't be capable to help you out. Of course, it's never about screwing you up, but they make you view this like from the perspective, from the point of view that it would actually hurt you if you would, expose the whole thing. So this is basically the way it all started, and it then turned into this issue here. So I had no idea what this was during MK Ultra. George Bush pulled on the side. Psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, a local animal whom I have described was involved in Mount Everest of violence, who, by the way, who went on to, this is the same thing, he's just enlarged, who went on to explain me the issues pertaining to my Central Intelligence case, file, and connected that through what would be a deletion of my CIA file, meaning that I would be without nothing. I would be left without nothing. Obviously pointing at George W. Bush and Bill Clinton, who demanded from psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, police, for psychiatrist Kapsch to make me understand that they wouldn't have any choice other than to, as Bill Clinton stated and George Bush, they have their own private collection about me, a beautiful collection about the people I met through them and all kinds of things like that. It would be too bad, it would be waste. Actually, collection not even directly related to the CIA. For this feels like their private collection, whatever the hell that means. We are talking about, you do understand, about two people that you can hire anytime. If you go to the dumpster, you pull them out of the dumpster and you make them wear presidential suits. To one day literally suggest you that it would be too bad if you would go against them, against the issues that are sensitive to them, because they have certain files. So you don't hire them for just any kind of job. You hire them basically for the CIA. You hire them for the top of the Central Intelligence Agency. That's basically what American presidency is. You, as an American president, you actually are a real director of the Central Intelligence Agency. The director of the CIA is just your deputy, really. This is the way they even explained me. So I I somehow do not consent to that stuff because not that I would be aware of, I am a personal property of George W. Bush or Bill Clinton for that matter. I never agreed to be their slave of either of these two people. I never agreed to any of that stuff. And when you give me a threat that you will delete and Central Intelligence Agency file that you have one, and that you have your private collection of my visits to you and interactions with the people who are involved in MK Ultra, they went on to give me examples of these people who were involved in MK Ultra, then I have to say that you crossed the lines here, because that stuff is actually not yours. As I stated, there are so many people that could easily replace you in America, many smarter, many better than you in many senses, that I'm not going to say that I could not count, but a lot of people, millions of people like this. So I'm not cool with this type of definition to me, the way you relate it to me, the way you step in my face during the psychiatric hospitalization, or I should say whatever the psychiatric hospitalization also was used for, because its primary goal was to get me killed. I see myself, I'm not going to say I don't see myself in you at all, even less. No, I'm going to say I don't see myself in you at all, to put it plain and simple. Today, if you stepped in front of me the way you did during MK Ultra, I would give my best to rip heads of your shoulders. And this goes indiscriminately for every one of you involved. Talking about the British royals, George Bush, Bill Clinton, and every American president, including Joe Biden and everybody. You would not see the same person that you interacted with during MK Ultra, to make myself clear. That person is gone. That person is out of the door and will never come back inside of this house here. That will never happen again. You are very, very unwelcome, and the only path for me is to prosecute you. There is no room here for negotiation of any kind. And we're going to get to this also in a little bit. They had all this stuff, also have one discussed in my face, I'm going to say in front of and with assistance of Christopher Wray. It's very sad. And Robert Miller and all of these people from FBI that were coming here, they gave them a full support for what I'm about to tell you in this video about this particular issue. When you approached me with some kind of game pertaining to my files, pertaining to the case, to my case, that is, which files pertaining to my case were literally stolen from me by Central Intelligence Agency. I don't understand how you guys do not understand that the files pertaining to me that are in possession of the Central Intelligence Agency are not a property of the Central Intelligence Agency, but are my property. You do need to admit, and we wouldn't even have this discussion today if you would not have taken this whole thing to extreme as you did, by the way. You have to admit that as somebody as I was to Central Intelligence Agency, who consciously have turned my conscience, I should say my back to my conscience, to literally sponsor you, to literally favor you, to literally welfare you and CIA and FBI and United States of America, that I am not even, especially because I was not on a pay list of the CIA nor FBI, but I was doing the job that CIA or FBI would otherwise be doing if they would get somebody that could do this kind of stuff. Of course, it was not about me doing that kind of stuff, but it was about getting me killed. Something that Josip Broz started in 1972, and it somehow have not ceased to exist. In fact, have proven itself to be so damn lucrative, because the case itself was so big that you just decided you're gonna go past Constitution, past laws, past international treaties, violated absolutely everything, and continue with it all the way into my grave. So you believe that you're going to get me killed before this thing is going to come out. This is not property of the CIA that you have that file. That's my property. You didn't have any case like this yet. You didn't have the case like this in the history of the U.S., but you have it now. You have the Constitution. Well, you don't have the Constitution. If you had the Constitution, you wouldn't do stuff like this. You have your Bill of Rights and you have laws, and I'm going to say to you, you don't have any. You didn't, in my case, you didn't have any. And you also disrespected international treaties as you were doing this, pertaining to the torture, inhumane degradation, human smuggling, trafficking, torture, and so on. You pass absolutely every fucking barrier. The thing is, Mr. George W. Bush and Bill Clinton, I did not touch you. You must admit, I never ever touched you. The first time I started to touch you is when you left me no alternative other than to go after you. I started to talk about MK Ultra in 2010, and little by little I was giving you warnings which you decided to ignore, and instead went on to intensify crime against me, determined obviously to get me killed. That file does not pertain to, it absolutely does not pertain to you. It's not your property. I am not your slave. I never agreed I would be a slave, your slave. I did this stuff for United States of America. I did this stuff for the Germany. I did this stuff for the British, believing that you represent yourself, that you are a role models that are out there to help me out. And you had a special way of lying. Your way of lying was such that you insisted Bao assisted me foremost in respect to Slovenia. Demanded for me even to let you go in return for your assistance. Insisted to other people involved in MK Ultra that they have nothing to fear in front of me because of my not being interested in them, and you demanded for me to agree to this, which I did. But foremost, to resolve question here in Slovenia. This is the way it was. And you went on, both of you, all of you, to in a parenthesis, convince those involved in MK Ultra case that how they have nothing to fear because of this issue. That is the type of, some people refer to that stuff even as a hypnosis, not as a brainwash. And there were people who actually talked about hypnosis pertaining to so many lies, such an efficient world of lies, that its person is completely drained out, despite being tortured in America, Britain, across the Europe, Western Europe, Canada, Australia, and so on. A person would simply disregard and even pride itself on a torture in Western world, as I did in the face of the Russians, to, as I was told, drive them crazy. when in reality it was only designed and supported for me to hurt myself. And I did, for both of you, for all of you. So you see, you do understand that file is not yours. That file is not even from Central Intelligence Agency. I am not Epstein, and I'm not a victim of Epstein. I did, not going to say work for you, but I brought you where you are today at. And based on what you alone admitted, your governments will not be where they are today in 200 years if it wasn't for my case. Not 50, but 200. Stuff I did, I described on the blog. Let's go back to this brainwash pertaining to this, to my file, to my blah, 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 blah. There were two versions of the brainwash. One version involved exactly what I already suggested. That would be deletion of their personal files that Bill Clinton and George W. Bush had. Acquaintances, my meeting their acquaintances in America, which files they were trying to convince me only the two had. Obviously, CIA is so fucking stupid that just doesn't have a track of its whereabouts or whatever they do. And so they relied fully on George W. Bush to be obviously as a collector of the proofs whenever he hosted me in his ranches, properties throughout the U.S., whether it be in Texas or up north. Well, of course, that is not really true. It's not difficult to tell about that. And then there is a second part. The two demanded from me to acknowledge. The two demanded from me to acknowledge a factor of corruption at FBI and CIA. And so the Bill Clinton and George Bush related to what is written, the shortcut, in two ways. One, to get my files, and their personal files about me deleted, and the second one, the two posts in front of me as two good guys, as guys that are concerned for my well-being, as the two guys, as psychiatrist Peter Kapsch went on to explain me, would represent for me a super shortcut to ending this. What is this? What the fuck is this? Well, you see, what is this shit? What exactly are we talking about here? What exactly are we talking about here? Well, this depends. This depends, the stuff we are talking about here. We are definitely not talking about trillions of dollars, western part of Canada, which they claim is going to go with me, that I'm going to become a king of the western part of Canada. Another time they talk about my becoming a king of parts of the eastern part of Canada and northern part of the Canada, and I don't know how much money, and so on and so forth. And giving me, I don't know, islands and properties and I don't know what. We are talking about something that have turned from what I stated, from those malicious lies. Those are now lies. Those are now no longer something that it could be. Those are now proven as lies. So, because what I really need at this point in time, and it's what I needed since 2018 to stay alive, literally, are medications. whatever medication is given to the people so that person can exist. Person could get, today for instance, I got 3 hours of sleep. It's been hard on me. And with 4 hours on average of sleep, 5 hours of sleep as it was the case, reduced to 4 hours, it makes life extremely, extremely difficult. Very insane if under this type of circumstances I would continue to talk about billions of dollars that they owe me and so on. That would be truly, truly fucking bullshit, insanity. Advertising me hospitals, all kinds of medical procedures, and etc., 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 when in fact we are not being allowed even to go to a physician to check yourself as a human being, basically, and are poised to live in the environment which is dictated and controlled by your mother, who is using every opportunity to put on a table chocolates and those baked chips, potatoes, and all kinds of unusual, crazy cravings, stuff that otherwise you would never go for. You become already abstinent of them, and all of a sudden those become, as was the case in Poland, those become part of your new upon return here to Slovenia. All based on MK Ultra brainwash, since you are completely penniless. So let's be realistic and stick with this option. So the shortcut to where exactly? The two advertise me the shortcut, it's going to be shortcut, it's going to be wonderful, it's going to be fantastic. The shortcut to where? And went on also to tell me that if I will go against the two will be taken off the picture, they will take them. Yeah. Everybody was about, they will take us, they will grab us, they will take us away, and we're never going to be able, and this and that. It's not about that you're never going to be able. The way you interact with me on a Facebook, it's like you're extremely uninterested, disinterested. First, you try to prove that we never met. Second, what you try to do is, if I identify you, you just shun away as fast as possible as you can. So I don't understand what exactly is it if you participate in something like this, especially as a president, that you do not somehow understand you are responsible for it, for the outcome of this case. Shortcut that they would take them away and they wouldn't be able to help me. Oh my. When it comes to Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, your help is shit appreciated. The way the two enforced this rocketeering, this blackmail. In the last few days, I spoke about 9/11 a whole lot and reveal the entire plot against me behind also what became also 9/11. And it appears to me that I stepped on their toes badly. Probably even more so today when I listed this thing here. And so in 2014, as George Bush had psychiatrists, cops, and local police explain me this phenomena here. I should say the brainwash behind this phenomena here that you see. Yeah, we spoke about this one here. The way Bush wanted to remind me on how I should not be talking about this stuff is no good and this and that and so on. Um, this phenomena afterwards expanded into a different kind of phenomena. George Bush promised me what's going to happen is, and I did not even understand what the fuck this was. I was so brainwashed earlier today when I went at home for elderly people to visit father, but I wanted to urgently record this stuff. That I assumed actually that this here was a Windows file. This shit is not Explorer. I know the Explorer looks different. I'm so that tired right now that is the hell you call this stuff here. It's let it be Windows Explorer, whatever the hell you call this. Windows file, whatever. So confused that I mistaken this for Windows Explorer. I should say not Windows Explorer, but Windows file, this stuff here. This should have been here, and it was not. It was not. And this is the shit that bothers me, because when it comes to this here, this was supposed to be, this was a Vivaldi browser that I had. And this browser here, I did not use one at all. Very seldomly have I used that browser. This is actually a browser. Browser is what this is. So, for me, that's a big thing, because during MK Ultra, they talked to me something about whatever they talked to me about, but the point when it comes to the brainwash, everything was centered on Windows Explorer, I should say Windows files. You know what I mean? I had no fucking idea about the browser, this and that. Now this shit, this browser, this one already, they uninstalled me. This shit is done remotely, for which George W. Bush also claimed I'm not going to be capable to prove that issue. And the way they do this issue, is they do this issue literally through programs which you have to install on the computer, all kinds of programs, like the programs that you would use to determine the speed of the external hard drive, or SD cards, or the shit that they tested during MK Ultra. Every fucking program, the software, and the stuff for which they knew that would result in a side impact of the Windows system, and would consequently resolve in unmounting even certain programs such as browsers. Now, he knew it's going to be a browser. We're going to get also to this issue. I will clarify all that stuff, right? So, George Bush was so certain about his success that he even suggested me that I will be called a schizophrenic. So, what you see here, this power move from George W. Bush here, was also related to a psychiatry. It's a case through which George W. Bush also believed he's going to prove that I am a schizophrenic if you will say, you know, that game, if you will say this and that. He suggested that I'm not going to be even able to prove this shit. So, but I am able to prove this shit, because he did mention to me, George Bush mentioned to me also the problem of compatibility, or the software compatibility. Let's just stay out of the conspiracy theories with which they also brainwash me on how they are going to modify the computer and, I don't know, operating system, which I am not excluding. It's impossible to do. I'm not saying this shit. That's not what I'm saying. And they might have done maybe exactly this, I don't know. But I'm saying that I have used a bunch of programs, and George Bush was the person who also claimed me that I will not be capable to prove this stuff, pointing me at what would be remotely, basically dismantling me a browser. You know what I mean? So if you would say that if I would say that somebody remotely dismantled me a browser, George Bush would in fact have a solution to this issue by pointing me out exactly also the stuff that he mentioned me. That's basically the compatibility issue pertaining to other software programs. So this is the way it works. This is the way this terrorism works. They do the stuff to you, and who the fuck knows? Maybe they uninstall that remotely by themselves. Who the hell knows? Nobody's going to tell me they don't have a capacity to connect to your computer, because it's bullshit. Anything that's connected to the internet, whoever also has a capacity to connect to your computer. This is just the way it is. It's very difficult to explain this stuff, so just please bear with me. So, today I learned that this is not pertaining, this does not belong to a Windows, to a Windows Explorer, but what used to be a browser. In my case, this was a Vivaldi. Americans also stated that they would be uninstalling me the browser which is the least used. And this definition, there was more people than just George W. Bush, explains to me something else. It explains to me that this actually was a remotely done job, talking about this job here. Now, I do have more proofs to suggest pertaining to what I just stated right now. George Bush was also an individual who claimed I was mentally retarded, simply by explaining to me during MK Ultra that if I have the browser deleted, like the one that you see right there, this is just a shortcut. This no longer is a browser. He started to teach me during MK Ultra. This go about way back in time. This go to year 2005, whatever. It's something I already video recorded because it was on other opportunity. It was this browser here, which is a Mozilla Firefox. They have uninstalled me. Now, they must be good at this stuff. And when I say good at this stuff, the issues that I stress to you out, they always pertain to the dates, time, whenever you would be installing or uninstalling the program. And so when a Mozilla Firefox disappeared from my desktop, just like this, it just disappeared one day, I became immediately alerted with threats that I received from Americans who told me that at one point in time there was this guy, whoever the hell he was, he suggested me that at one point in time it's just going to be gone, like gone. Like I said, what do you mean gone? Like how gone? He said gone, gone like gone. And went on to say, sorry, so now if you didn't make any backups pertaining to your favorites and passwords and stuff like this, you gotta lose them all. This is how he said to me, whoever the hell that guy was. Had a little beard, taller guy, white guy. It was George Bush who started to indoctrinate me on how he actually managed to solve the browser, which he mistakenly was not he, that browser somehow was deleted, that it was whatever it was, that it deleted him a browser on his computer, and started to indoctrinate me about the files, on how I should rush to the Windows, etc., etc., and pull out, make a copy of the browser itself before, you know, reinstalling it, as the browser would suggest. Also, usually, at least it did for whatever program I was using, Firefox, I think it was uninstalled. Actually, sorry, I'm crazy. The program that uninstalled itself, or they uninstalled one, was my main program. That's basically Opera browser. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, the Firefox. That's crazy. Doesn't matter, it's the same shit. So I really regretted when they did this stuff to me. It pissed me off. I video recorded the whole thing, and I told everything about the stuff I'm talking to you about right now. How they approached me, Americans, and they started to give me the instructions on how to save the browser, rather than following instructions from the browser, which already offers you to reinstall the browser. You know what I mean? And when you reinstall the browser with a browser, the only thing that happens is you delete everything that you had, and you lose all the information. Yeah. So we had this kind of issue pertaining to George Bush. This goes way back in time. It goes to 2005. It pertained to Mozilla Firefox, actually. That's why I'm making this mistake. Not to the Opera browser, which I'm using. But it was the same shit. And not too long ago, I noticed this Vivaldi browser to have disappeared on my desktop. I noticed it. This is not this shit with this browser, not browser, but the files already repeated before. The first thing that happened was this here, and I did not want to proceed. I said to myself, when it's going to be convenient for me, I will take care of this problem. Right now it's not. I have other browsers. I don't need to go after this problem. And I set one like this on the side. And really, believe it or not, the next thing that happened is this shit. You see, when I'm going to click the unpin this program from the taskbar, also like this disappeared. Except that I never did exactly what I did in my life till this shit here happened, and I started to investigate this stuff. And I figure out that somebody did this stuff to me, that I did not do it. It is just as simple. I just never do it. If you pull it out, you cannot do this. There is no way you could possibly do this. And so we had a problem. Somebody is playing with this stuff. The truth is, I published a really interesting stuff on my blog. And, well, whoever that is just going to have to get over it, right? I mean, this is just the way it is. And with so much stuff that I have to do, I do not plan on dealing with this issue at all. And that's what George Bush stated me, what I described right now. This browser here, this Vivaldi browser, was already gone, with also what was this Windows folders, Windows Explorer. Oh, it's shit. They call it Explorer. Okay, so the browser from Windows is also Explorer, but that's a browser. Okay, so that's Windows Explorer. Okay? Shit, it's a File Explorer. Now I got it correctly. So, nothing. I didn't bother with it. I threw this back here, and I knew that somebody did something. I just went and I mind my own business. So, yes, now, if you would go, this here, I didn't care about this. Like I said, I had other browsers, but this here started to bother me. Today, it bothered me. When this shit went missing today, this File Explorer, I got disturbed. And I got disturbed only because of one thing. I got disturbed because of what I demonstrated here. President George Bush W. used to sell Bill Clinton for advice, and his measure was consistently to get This exactly is the news the two started to fabricate beginning the 2012. During George Bush's presidency, I personally had to witness George Bush calling Bill Clinton, which I did not like at all, because I was not in the best relationship with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was not a very pleasant person to be around with. So, this was already a big plus for Bill Clinton because he gained the proofs about me not being interested in working with him during George W. Bush's presidency. George Bush was the one who inherited Bill Clinton's presidency. I already remember all that stuff, all the brainwash pertaining to that stuff. And I must say, all through I did click on this news, I did not read one yet. So, I don't want to read one at all. Maybe I'm going to read one later, maybe not. I'm tired as hell. I have to go other stuff I got to do. It's like this, and I can't be reading this shit all the time. Watching people and reading the fucking news that reminds me of nasty stuff that went on. You know, I have to put my brain a little bit to some other locations also, so that I relax myself and I can go on with it. So this was quite a confusion, and George W. Bush even referred to this issue. He said, "If you're not gonna get this, if you're not gonna get this thing," it actually even looked like George Bush is trying to help me, which is a normal procedure, MKUltra procedure. If you ever know somebody who is indicating this kind of stuff, and this is also the only way that person can be subjected to, is they don't only torture, they don't only death threaten, they don't only threat, they also lie to you. They give you all kinds of compliments and all kinds of lies. One does not go without the other. And, well, they do this kind of stuff simply because they have to do it. Without lying to you about things, they cannot do one thing, and without doing that stuff, they cannot do the other thing. Let's just leave this stuff alone right now. What matters is George Bush stated to me, he said to me, if you're not going to get it right the first time, forget it. And that's what I should be telling you about this kind of stuff only. Blah, 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 blah. There was blah, 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 conspiracy theory. And who the hell knows, like I said, maybe that would even yield George Bush a proof against me based on the programs that you install and uninstall and stuff like this. And then there is another problem with this stuff. I did not install or uninstall any kind of programs today or yesterday. Now, that could also be potentially because of the hardware that you hook up to the computer, but based on the stuff that I described, to me, it's becoming more evident that somebody played remotely with my Windows, rather than that this would have to do with installation or uninstallation of the software on my computer, other than watching, observing, NSA, the stuff that I do with my computer, and have figured out this goes to the prior dates that this thing happened, that it could be used to just do that at the right time whenever I would be installing and uninstalling based on MKUltra brainwash, and I wouldn't even not know whether it was one or the other. Then there is that third problem also. This computer was thoroughly investigated by the police and inspected and tested for every little glitch, every kind of error, anything that it could be used, that would come out as unusual, and have, through the brainwash, turned that into a total conspiracy bullshit. I did explain to you they were doing with absolutely everything. Nothing was more exposed to what I stated right now than a computer. They came up with 1 million different conspiracies pertaining to this computer alone. I mean, this was a total lunacy on open stuff that went on. So yeah, eventually, based on this computer specifications, it could be also that the computer has certain restrictions, problems, and those were not capable to execute what otherwise Windows computer, I should say computer PCs would. So George Bush said, if you're not going to get it the first time, you're not going to get it ever. And then he came back, and that was 2014 still. He said, well, there is one more chance for you. And I said, what? I'm giving you exactly the brainwash. I'm breaking down exactly the brainwash. And he pointed me the article that you see right there now appeared in the media. He said, but if you're not going to get that one right, then forget it. And he said, even that one, you're probably not going to be capable to get anything out of it. It's going to be a schizophrenia if you're not going to do it already the first time. So, stuff I'm talking about here is the way MK Ultra is done. This is a type of brainwash. What exactly happened with my computer, I don't know. But I know that what I stated to you are facts pertaining to MK Ultra, George Bush, and Bill Clinton pertaining to this case alone. You understand? So, there will be one more chance, and, well, this, I guess, this is this, in a parenthesis, chance. I already made a mistake, but, yeah, it's okay. The whole thing needs to be told and demonstrated. I'm not here to hide anything. It appears that Explorer was gone, File Explorer was gone, and like I said, I never used this unpin the program from the taskbar option, and I never did in my lifetime. I never do, I never did, and it's impossible that I possibly could. And it did happen. So when they deliver me this program, this news. So this is the shit that confused me so much that I saw, that really, really agitated me when I did not see this Explorer file program, because I immediately recalled this news and connected one with what you see right here. So this is why I know also that this stuff was done. It is just as simple as this. This is how it worked in this case. Now, there is more stuff that I want to say to you. This, I told you, is like a continuation of this video pertaining to also Barack Obama, not only British royals, but Barack Obama. This stuff here. Who hired one to get me killed? This is like a part number 2 in a way. I made a major mistakes here in this case here. I stated that the FBI, CIA guy started to appear, guys, it was only one, in our store beginning 1995, and gestured me on how things would just, where would I go next if things would not work out for me in Miami. They always start this with original shit. Then what they were asking me if we could go move up north, and then what about if things will not work out for you in Florida, and then what about if things will not work out for you in the USA. So I made a major mistakes when I stated that they started in Canada in 98, actually earlier, like in 95. I want to be very, very precise about this here. The most evil country involved in my MK Ultra case was in Norway. The Norway was fucking insane. It was Norway where they started to torture me with what they anticipated it would turn into a black dictatorship under future Barack Obama's presidency, from which I would be running away from throughout even entire Europe and Northern America. The Norwegians, the King Harald of Norway, was obsessed with the torture already in 1995. Norway was the first country involved in MK Ultra which started to prepare itself on a future Barack Obama's presidency, which finally took place in the year 2009. That's basically 8 years after the 9/11. Uh, After Norway, it was the countries Denmark, it was Sweden that started to also engage in a torture together with the Germany, Netherlands, and Brussels became a big torture hit, based on what they anticipated would be my running for life from America into other countries where I would be applying for political asylum. This is what they were trying to make the thing completely impossible, the task impossible, and as they gesture me as unwelcome as anything can be unwelcome in this world. Hostility is the cure for all the problems. Canada went on a picture as well, and the British also started to exercise torture. The shit that they started, everything started in year 1995, and they started to do the stuff, bad stuff to me, even in Ukraine, beginning the 1996. The Polacks went on to torture, I believe, in 1997 with the same goal. Everybody started to torture. I became known internationally as evil, as a pure evil. And so all these countries, and Czech Republic and Poland, they went on with everything they had to get me killed. This did not stop. Slovakia became obsessed with the torture. I was not even interested ever to immigrate to Slovakia on the first place. It would be like impossible that something like this would happen. But it did, because it was lucrative. It was lucrative. It was financially superb. Way earlier than what I stated in this video here that I described, but I described everything the way it was, in a very good way, but way earlier they started. This torture business that commenced through the Germany and through the Scandinavia was preceded by the, in parentheses, job offers from, again, Norwegians. Norwegians were extremely excited to get me to Norway already in, well, the Norwegians were not even, how can I say, Norwegians had dreams that I would not even finish, a grammar school. Then Norwegians were really funny people. Sometimes they liked me, and some other times, like Italians, maybe they wanted to choke me. But in between, they were very eager for me not to do even high school, nothing, not even grammar school. And so it's interesting to note that Norwegians were also the first who started to insist on job offers to me. Job offers before I would even finish the school for a mechanic. So I found myself drugged up at the local employment agency here in the Novo Mesto with lucrative job offers, which offered, well, based on the stuff that I have seen, was a road to nowhere, with some guys insisting me how they will go with me to work in Scandinavia and I don't know what, and I told them that I am just gonna skip that kind of stuff, because there was no money, there was nothing in it, and I had no intentions to go really anywhere. I was not interested in that. I was more interested in finishing my school. And yeah, after I became a mechanic, this crap offers from Norway and Sweden continued to pile up. Oh, I also got the offers for Spain and many other nowheres, which, yeah, you could trace if you have a map with the finger. You could go on the map and you would say, oh, there is a Spain, there is Norway, there is Sweden, oh, look, there is a Germany. They are waiting for me to come there with the jobs. Wow. Right? So maybe there would be a person that would do something like this, therefore buys himself a ticket to nowhere. But I was really interested in finishing my school, the military, like as if I would be a normal person. Yeah, I was just imitating a normal people. Because the stupid shit that these people had in their heads, the perversion about me, is just so crazy insane, and I don't even know where they got this idea from. I'm really not impressed when I look at these people that I would say, wow, something. These people that I see, I'm not impressed with these people, and extremely brazen. They suggested choices that clearly were a wreck, maybe they thought that I'm mentally driven insane already, or that I am, a crackpot or something. I don't know what they thought about me, but the way they presented me all this stuff made no fucking sense. And so I just continued to insist on the school, finishing the school, and I did, even for mechanical engineering technician. And in 91, and these people, Norwegians, they continued to post in front of me as if they had the jobs, as if they have the offers. The Austrians insisted that I should go for the train driver. A train driver for which job they promised me already here in Yugoslavia, that they're going to make sure that I'm going to smash, it's going to be another train that is going to smash into my train. The kind of job I didn't want to go for, and what a Norwegian guy, when I was in Norway, reminded me of. He said, go for a window washer of the high-rises. Yeah, this was one of the jobs, those dream jobs during MK Ultra in 1991 the Norwegians came up with, and also some kind of a plumbing job or whatever that I would do as an offer that's going to be fantastic. You're going to climb the high rises, super high rises, and you're going to go and you're going to start to clean the high rises of the buildings. And well, if you fell down, you're dead. I mean, sorry for you. Yeah, shit happens basically just like this, but the money is wonderful. So there were no job offers like you would come and say, hey, hello man, my name is such and such, as normally is the case with the people, that somebody would say, we work in Norway or something, and we stay at such place, we have a hotel over there, or rooms, private rooms, whatever, and we live there, and they pay us so much and so much. This never was the case. During MK Ultra, the way these Scandinavian German schizophrenics presented to me these issues as the offers was just basically you buy yourself a bus ticket or a train ticket and you go to the motherfucker land. And that's a job. I don't know, maybe they believed, because it's also the Friedrichstadt that was involved in this case, from Copenhagen, the Danish. Oh, they had a very beautiful girls. They had beautiful, gorgeous girls, and in Denmark, and in Sweden, and in Norway. They had such a beautiful babes, and in Germany, and everywhere. Wow, really. It's called Freeland in Denmark, in Copenhagen. I don't know how they call that motherfucker place, but it's a asylum on open. If you like to smoke drugs, if you like to get stoned, it's just perfect. It's a city on open. No, just a portion of the Denmark of the Copenhagen where you can go and you can do the drugs and you can, man, you don't have to go to work. You just do the drugs and the money comes. I understand the royals, the Danish royals like it over there. Occasionally they go and they do some joints and stuff. They always did that kind of stuff. Huh? It was the time when maybe the elite society liked that kind of stuff, but I was really not in the drugs. I was more of a sporty person and interested in a job and work. And that's how I started here in Slovenia, working very hard, but unfortunately with the wages stolen and so on. But, you know, and well, that would also be an option I was not interested in. I would even not know how to get there, because this was so fucking crazy that I would just skip these things. And then in 1993, year was 1993, before I even came to the United States of America, it was determined there will be another 9/11. There was already attacks on World Trade Center. In 1993, Danish and Norwegians started to torture in respect to future 9/11. Now, did the Danish and Norwegians knew about how this is going to be? The answer to this question is yes, they did. So now you're going to say, how the fuck is that possible? This is just 2 years upon the fall of the Soviet Union. Norwegians and Danish and Germans knew about the 9/11. Yes, it is possible. In fact, that's exactly how it did happen. The Norwegian, Danish, and German neo-Nazis, together with the British royals, also neo-Nazis, knew that I will go abroad. That's how that stuff is possible. You see, if there was a question about who did the 9/11, who financed the 9/11, and there was a big disagreement between the Japanese Naruhito and Americans who visited our home here in our house here in the city of the Nova Mesa. A big disagreement about who did this stuff to me. The stuff I spoke about in let's just say first part of this, who hired Barack Obama to get me killed. And Americans, when he started to suggest, he said, if you will ever publish this, it's exactly what happened. He said, what I will do is, that's what Naruhito said, because they do have the Japanese website where they do video hosting and stuff like that. He said, you're going to see a map of America if you're going to do this as an automatic thumbnail. That's what you will see. And when Americans heard this stuff, they started to nervously laugh. No. Nobody wanted to have anything with a 9/11. If you will ever talk about that stuff, if you will ever get this far. Today I'm getting a little further. Parasites, Germans, Norwegians, Swedes, British knew that I would go abroad because they finance extermination procedure against me through Slovenian police. Upon the fall of the Soviet Union, Chertalic, a local here, employer. It's where I did this pripravništvo, or whatever you call that. A practical part of the school that you have to do to prove that you have the knowledge that you can work in this field, whatever. They made things literally with the psychiatrists, social workers stalking me, with the police stalking me as I would go in the city, wherever the fuck I would go, to make sure that I would go out of the country, with Donald Trump, who said, if you're not going to go out of the country, they're going to kill you. And even when I made it out of the country, they told me, we were sure you're never going to make it out alive. Yeah, they had me like this already. So, Germans, Norwegians, Swedes, British built on extermination procedure against me here in Slovenia, the whole thing. The whole thing. So, it was already determined in 1993 there will be a black guy who will do this. Whether they determine that's going to be Barack Obama is what Barack Obama will explain. But in 1993, that's 2 years before I came to United States of America, it was already a torture that started to take place in Norway, Germany, and Denmark, pertaining to the future, to my future asylum, political asylum claims that I would make, and Britain. What do you think about this stuff? So, this was not exactly Americans that were behind this stuff. It did pertain to the Germans, it pertained to the Dutch, to Norwegians, Danes, Swedes, and to the British. I did try my luck, work, job-wise, in Austria. Language skills were poor, and the jobs were out of question. And this is how I actually proceeded toward United States of America, by selling everything I had and buying myself my own ticket, paying myself for medical examination, really expensive shit, all this, and heading to fucking nowhere, basically. At least knowing that there will be a job with all the lies, as I was told, it's going to be thousands of dollars per month that I would earn. Nobody also told me that I will be working for $200-300 a month. Maximum average was $500 per month for 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, work week, plus the MK Ultra that I had to undergo in between. So this was something that, when these animals from Novo Mesto police station were visiting me, hijacking me from the ship, they were certain that at any moment, any point in time, I'm going to drop that. They're not going to get me. I was waking up with plenty of water here, with the puddles of the water on me. This is impossible to even explain. With feet so swollen that it was basically, I couldn't even put the shoes on, bigger than my shoes size, with blood that was open and bleeding from the fingers and from the back and so on, with those who did this type of work, and even those who served the Foreign Legion, claiming me that they have not seen anything like this. I don't think they did. Lunacy, total lunacy. So that be part number 2. If anybody thinks that I would not know who was behind it all, who did this, I do. I remember about the stuff that went on. In 1995, when Central Intelligence Agency, Americans, FBI, started to hijack me to Norway, to Sweden, to Germany, to Denmark, to Netherlands, to Belgium, to Britain, for killing purposes, torture, killing. Norwegians, Danes, Germans started to claim me that I didn't want the job,
I didn't want it, the generous offers that they give me, and so now I deserve to be in a different way, and that's basically a nightmare. Now I am in a trouble. Now you are in a trouble. And this is what they pointed basically at Barack Obama is coming presidency. As a black dictator in the United States of America, Barack Obama is presidency. Literally through the movie 300, 1998, before the movie was even released, demanding direct fight between me and Barack Obama. Barack Obama was searching already before 1998 for every opportunity to have a fight, like racial fight with me. Racial, and was really challenging bowling on black and white issue. So, you want to understand who did it? Today, everything is laid down about who did, how it did, before it even started, way before it even started in Canada, Vancouver area. It was Norway, Sweden, Germany, Denmark. And it's sad. Greater than Great Britain, Belgium, and so on. It's sad because it was the Slovenian police that enforced this German crime, this Deutsch crime, this German crime. It was exactly Milan Kučan. It was exactly Robert Golob whom they have used for extermination procedure against me here in Slovenia, so the Germans could get whatever they want. Huh? Mr. Zalar from Psychiatric Hospital Ljubljana Polje. He was so partisan and all this and this and that. Weird kind of people. Strange kind of stuff with this Borut Pahor and with these people. That they were so anti all this and that. But then on the other hand, we developed literally into a helter-skelter CIA FBI business. So, am I interested in changing anything that pertains to the stuff that you see on my blog about 9/11 that I so beautifully advertised? The answer to that question is no. I don't. I like it this way, and it's going to stay this way. I don't know how much I can still expand this stuff that I did, but I did a hell of a good job. I cannot talk to you about what kind of explosives they were using or what exactly they have done for 9/11, because by God, I'm not an expert in that. And another thing is, it's not that I would say, I would hope I don't know anything about it, what exactly was done, but I really do not recall about it. I did not read anything. I did not even take time to go over exactly what. I'm not interested in these conspiracy theories. I still go with official theories of the planes flying into these buildings. That stuff was involved in MK Ultra. They did have me at this World Trade Center talking to me about that's not going to be enough, that's going to be explosive, that kind of stuff, but that's a very, very limited knowledge that I have, and it's even the area I would still have to exploit. Maybe this is why I don't want to. The man who was coming inside of the store, the FBI guy, definitely was one of the people who was with me, whom CIA FBI used to deliver me to those towers, Twin Towers area, and talk to me about explosive. They did video record themselves with me on the video. They did that stuff too. Okay, so that they could have the proof, obviously, that I'm the evilest person in the world. So it did not stop there. They got talking about the blacks. Some black lady, nasty motherfucker, several of these blacks, nasty as fuck, government people, might have been even from the U.S. Justice Department of State. They're going to explain all that stuff. Insisted me upon the George Bush's invasion of Iraq, Afghanistan. They catch some of those terrorists and demanded from me to see myself in them. Demonstrated me photos of them beaten up and abused and stuff. Photos. And explained me that these are the terrorists who did this, and that that I am one of them. The black they have chosen the black people to talk to me like this. So I'm not gonna say making the racism appealing or making the hostility unavoidable with Barack Obama, but the purpose of my arrival to the United States of America, to build myself a future in the country, it made no fucking sense anymore under this type of circumstances. It made absolutely no sense under this type of circumstances. Now with a black what I would say, African American that does not fit in the picture because it's just so inappropriate. Because Barack Obama this is a proud black person, because it was about racial war, where you're going to put him down or he's going to put you down. This is what Germans, white Americans, Danes, Norwegians demanded from me with the British royals. They wanted the fight between me and a black American president. He's just a president, and I couldn't even get to the police station to say, hey, I had FBI people, CIA people coming in the store and talk about blowing up the towers and stuff like that. No. I was a guilty one. I was accomplice of 9/11, promised by the black people on how I will be running and they will be catching me. So this is the way it works during MK Ultra. This is the thrill. This is the drill. Trauma is the name of the game. However, the trauma is done through the torture, through the sleep deprivation. It's a state of mind, that delirium practically almost, that you border with what are all kinds of abusive, parasitic, brainwashing, undermining scenarios they come up with. That's why I said, folks, these people up to no fucking good. Every fucking one of them is up to no good. These are parasites, vampires, whatever you want to call them. It's just when you do person stuff like this, the African American doesn't even sound sane. You know what I mean? It doesn't even sound sane because it's so African American doesn't sound right anyways. What the fuck is about African American anyways? American is the most correct, I would say. The blacks is because that's how they refer to them as. If you would say brown, that would be browns. Whites is not problematic, but blacks, browns, and referring to the Asian people as yellow is also problematic. But why is it problematic? It's problematic because these people did not accomplish the social status, the economical power, strength, and independence, basically, as the whites did. You know, their share, logically, based on proportion of the population, is not as big in economy, in everything, as it is of the white people. Or through, of course, it's got to do also with the racism, discrimination, and etc., etc., etc. I'm not denying any of that stuff. But African American, it's like, it should be divisive. It's like saying, go to fucking Africa. It's like saying European American. Who the fuck is addressing white people as a European American? Do you know anybody? Nobody. You see. Or they also say, Asian American. So what the fuck? We have now already Asia, we have Africa, and we have European in America. And so where the fuck is the America then? I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know. I am not really down with this stuff, okay? Unless the person is sensitive to this issue and wants to be addressed as African American, I don't know how is the correct African American. They teach me this is the correct way to address people when it comes to black people, black population. But this is not the point here in this case. Barack Obama was never presented as an African American president. Barack Obama was presented as a black man, as a black president. He was presented to me as a black against white. You white, he black. Now fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, to me personally, I cannot address Barack Obama as an African American. Barack Obama alone wanted to have, you know, fight with me and destroy me, and, you know, in front of Milan Kuchan, you know, prided himself and so on and this stuff. And so it's just extremely personal. From a different perspective that you might not even understand, from my point of view, the way they did this stuff. They presented this as Barack Obama claimed that it's extremely important to get as many as possible black billionaires and millionaires and so on, that's like the main reason why the black people are discriminated against, because there's no economic power behind them. And once it's going to be, economic power, the people are going to take them more seriously and so on. And so the way they portrayed him, this issue, to Barack Obama, talking about Norwegians and Germans and etc., etc., you can see that a Norwegian girl who used to express the desire to marry me, the daughter of the Harald of Norway, of Norwegian King Harald, she is dating a black guy. And so the way they presented me this issue is it's going to be basically fun to see you, how the black guy is going to destroy you completely while you're going to be running around. You're not going to be welcome anywhere. Surely, Jews had a different option. Jews had an option known as not Dog Magog, but Gog Magog, the one that you see, right? You can educate yourself as on the also times you have a header right there, and I explain about how the Jews saw their form of retaliation against me for everything they got from me. I don't remember doing anything bad to anyone, but um, it's interesting. They refer to me as a parasite. Germans, Jews, blacks, for everybody, I was a parasite. I was the one who was a parasite. So it's a quite an interesting, challenging stuff, the MK Ultra. And yeah, I am fortunate enough to live long enough to give you the idea how this stuff works. Yeah. This is a different kind of blood world. This is truly a blood world. One thing, a movie is that you watch about people killing one another for the money, and something completely different is this here, when you don't get any kind of money, and the only thing you get is lies, basically, and real killers out there to kill you, a real torture, and real killers working their way to kill you in police uniforms, politicians, and so on. It's a different type of thrill with much higher outcome of death, of getting killed. Well, I don't know what else I would say in respect to this stuff. This is so well explained, and everything I clarified in respect to this, who hired Barack Obama to get me killed. Maybe Barack Obama could share a little bit about how he was hired through this civil rights, because that's what the civil rights are used for. They integrated civil rights into the royal world, in the world of royals, as you see. Things are moving forward, or maybe they are now moving backwards. Maybe they're now moving to fucking nowhere, to a point of no fucker turn, no return. But this is truly what MK Ultra was, what MK Ultra is. 1993, everything was decided about blowing the World Trade Center. Everything was decided about blowing up Twin Towers. 1993, and negotiated between the Russians and Americans already before the Soviet Union have even fallen apart. If you are ever going to receive those CF files and stuff like that, and then take time and reveal everything about the stuff that went on already during the Soviet Union that you Americans negotiated in respect to the Twin Towers. This is a very, very, very long issue, old issue. It was on the table, and it was again off the table, and it was again on the table, and it was off the table, and things just, therefore, a Slovenian police, a Russo-Serbian Slovenian police just somehow favored the Twin Tower bombing somehow, and when they have a culprit, a scapegoat like this, then you have, boom, then you have this kind of stuff. It's just too bad that people are so remind yourself of how you were, whose side you were taking, and that's how people are. People are vicious. People are extremely vicious. People don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about their own family members. What do you think is they give a fuck about? Some people blown up, they call them friends or whatever. Portray some kind of, I can't get out of my head that fucking Pope from Poland. Compassion and even crying and twisting and shit to, I mean, except one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to do what you're supposed to fucking do, right? Not even today, and the year is 2026, and you go out there and you're gonna talk about, I don't know what you have, the new main media news is today, what is now, what's the new trend now. You wanna discuss about. So that being said about this play with the folder that George Bush was playing with, also with the Bill Clinton, the only thing I do is, if you want to fuck with me, I'm going to add a little bit more, and I would have to video record one more video anyways pertaining to 9/11 and stuff like this, and so this is just a perfect way of doing it. So if you were out there and you want to know about who did the 9/11, the 9/11 was on a table between the Russians and between the Americans already since 1988. They negotiated the Twin Towers bombing. Russians knew absolutely everything about the Twin Tower bombing. They were part of this since 1988. They discussed this issue. They already during the Soviet Union. The one who broke Russia, Soviet Union, really were Russians. And likewise, Serbs did it in Yugoslavia, but Serbs were certain that nobody can break away from them and free themselves from this Serbian hell here in Balkans. They were certain that never going to happen, but eventually it did. So that's all I gotta say in respect to this video. It's much longer than what I anticipated it would be again. Non-existing job offers of non-existing jobs, terror pertaining to directly to the 9/11. Nobody was obsessed more with 9/11 than Norwegian King Harald and the Germans. British royals, I should say, with Germans. Immigration to America 1995. Lunatic meeting me in the store from CIA, from FBI, asking me crazy questions about where would I go next, while at the same time torture continues throughout Europe and United States of America, soon expands to Canada and so on. This is the way this stuff was. So you're gonna fucking tell me that there was no American involvement or even European involvement in 9/11? You better not to step in my face and try anything like that. You need to release, for the benefit of people, you need to release everything about, I'm talking to you the same way as if I would be a CIA boss, and I am a CIA boss. I was more than a CIA boss. I was longer than any CIA boss in this. I've seen much more than any CIA boss did. I witnessed to much more than they did. And this is actually an order to you. I order you to release the files in respect to 9/11 between what still used to be Soviet Union and United States of America government. That's George Bush Sr. that you play this stuff with, that he played with a Soviet Union. That's the way this stuff is. This is what I have to say in respect to this stuff. As an American president, you are just a regular nobodies that are selected out of crowds to entertain, to do the stuff based on government needs. You're basically doing the job like any other fucking job out there. But it's more interesting. You get to travel, you get to see things, and you even get to fuck some person like myself random, and so on and so forth. It's a lot of stuff that is very interesting. It's a very good job. It's very exciting, and it's very rewarding job, as long as you don't do stupid shit, or maybe step on the toes of somebody like myself. That's all I gotta say about this stuff. You will release these files, not only pertaining to what I stated is beginning 1995, pertaining to 9/11, but you will release them also for the Soviet Union. I'm a witness. I'm a witness. I count. I'm not a CIA director Robert Miller or Christopher Wray or I should say FBI director, wherever director out there did you have? I say so. I was there. I am still alive. I am saying this, and I demand you to do this. I am demanding you. I am ordering you to do this. You have no jurisdiction, nothing to say no to me. Nothing. None. I'm not going to say that this was a part of the agreement, but I won this case and you lost this case. You have nothing to defend yourself in front of the law, in front of anything that you swear on your constitution, on international treaties and so on. You need to release this file. I'll make it really fucking interesting for your American presidents. You want to threaten me, then we're going to do it this way. Not that you want to threaten me, we're going to do it this way. You already have gone far too far. As much as I wanted to protect you, and this goes also for the Germans and for the British and Scandinavians and Canadians and everything else, you made this completely impossible. Now, you go and thank to your British royals from London for it. That Norwegian terrorist, Harald of Norway, is still alive. He is a very, very important witness of what I stated here. He acted as somebody as he was extremely bothered with it, and like that he wanted to help me out at whatever costs. Gained a great deal of sympathy with me. I liked him. I cannot say that I did not like him. I liked him. He protested to such thing already during the Soviet Union, and it always somehow happened that this Twin Tower bombing, the thing keep coming back on a table, off the table and back on a table, and off the table and back on the table. Harald of Norway was already involved during Soviet Union time in this 9/11 future bombing, Twin Tower bombing, World Trade Center bombing issue. And it's exactly what I fucking explained to you right now. This shit started in 1988 between the Russians, between Soviet Union, so-called Soviet Union, and United States of America, and of course all other countries in between. Germany and Norway, Scandinavia, Britain especially, etc., with getting on a table and getting off a table. Like any issue that pertained to unprecedented crime, completely mindless, insane shit, was always negotiated by throwing the issue on the table, taking the issue off the table, seeing who sees what, who objects what, find a way to troubleshoot the person that is creating a problem, throw the file back on the table, and see who's going to attack somebody else, and basically forming espionage within the people that are sitting across that used to sit as adversaries across your table. Having them report to you who goes after them, give them advice, and troubleshoot that issue, and throw the folder on the table till you have it black and white and signature on both sides, basically. This is the way they were doing this shit. That's what I was used for. That's what they would also bring the subjects that were already gone off the table back on the table. Like, we're just fucking with him or whatever, and they start to hey, by the way, what do you think about this, and so on and so forth. And file gets back on the table. And it was Harald of Norway was the last one who got pissed off. That's how he wanted me to see him, as angry, sometimes in 1992, and said, This time it's gonna stay on the table. We gotta go and we gotta do that. And this is the way it was. And then they started to torture in 1993. You remember we told you not, and you did this, and you did this, and so on. This is the way it was. So that's when I immigrate in between. I made it to America, 1995, and finished my contract on the ship and find myself in some store over there in Miami, and just like this, through this ex-wife, Ecuadorian from South America, Indian, a real Indian, a native Indian. I, you know, the rest of the story you already somewhat know. So this is now exploited the issue of Twin Tower bombing in like greatest detail. I couldn't do a better job than this. I'm extremely satisfied. So this folder shit that you started to play with gave me the energy to complete the part number 2 to the greatest detail. Harald of Norway is his name. You talk about this guy. Is a very important witness that you should not allow to just die. Fuck that. He's got some stuff to explain. That's what police is for. And if you can't do that, then don't call yourself the police. Then fuck you. Fuck you and your police in that case. If you cannot do stuff like this, I don't think the people need you. I don't think that people need you. I think that if you can't do the stuff like this and you interpretate MK Ultra as a telepathy, I think that you are a threat to the gravest, the biggest threat to society. You're the single biggest terrorists that society literally depends on. It's total crap in that case. I almost failed to expose Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was... it's the cancer is right here. That's the cancer right here. Bill Clinton was a must part. It was the main link to 9/11. Without the Bill Clinton, 9/11 never ever would have happened. This is the man who Vladimir Putin and George Bush both have used for their political agenda, with Putin bombing Moscow already in 1999 and George W. Bush in 2001, as you know. Bill Clinton was the man who already coordinated the future war on Ukraine through Vladimir Zelensky, with literally having Vladimir Zelensky, who was coming to Slovenia since he was a child, since he was just maybe 10 years old boy. Was Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky was coming to Slovenia as a child. This man right here, he was coming to Slovenia already as a child. He is 48 years old. He had a birthday, and we're gonna say happy birthday to him today. January the 25th, 1978, he was born. He was coming to Slovenia already beginning in 1988. This man that you see right there. Yeah, as a child on vacation, he already found his way here, exactly to this parcel here at Akarka village. Was already visiting here. This man here that you see, this child here, Vladimir Zelensky. Okay? This is coming from a very important Soviet family. He would return every here and there. He did not come always. It's like 2 years missing, even stuff like that. And the year would be then again 1991, when he would come back. Something like this. No, he was here in 90 and 91, like this. He kept coming back. Yeah, but beginning 1986 at least. Vladimir Zelensky, 1986. Zelensky was 18 years old. In 1996, Zelensky was 18 years old. Vladimir Zelensky was meeting. Let me demonstrate you. He was on a regular basis coming to Slovenia, was already meeting Vladimir Putin. Was doing, as always, hiking inside of the forest. When I was going through the forest, I did not even identify him properly. That's how long Zelensky was coming to Slovenia. That's our home right there. Next to it, you see right there. No. We did not have even the home here yet when Zelensky was coming to Slovenia. This is the trails over there, the forest knows very good Zelensky this. Since he was a child, he was coming here. He was doing hiking when he was a child. He knows very good the stuff I'm talking about. I completely identify him today. Beginning 1996, Zelensky was meeting Vladimir Putin. Okay? And this shit was all done through the Bill Clinton, that we understand each other. Everything was done through Bill Clinton. Vladimir Putin meeting George W. Bush before he became a president. Entire 9/11 and Moscow. Boom, boom. That's exactly what we are talking about. I just want you to understand the link of Bill Clinton. It might be comfortable over there, might be cozy over there, but I don't want to get so cozy. Maybe I don't want to get so comfortable, because I believe that you will have a police meeting. I believe that police will knock on your door. I believe that police will ask you about the stuff I have spoken in this video. And eventually, I believe you will have to explain some, including this here issue, pertaining to my files, pertaining to what you believe you're gonna even. What did you try to say to me? That you're gonna privatize genocide, or what? What the fuck? That you own? What is it the fuck that you own? You don't own anything. You yourself, you are a property of the Central Intelligence Agency as American president. That's all the fuck you are. What do you think you are? You are property of CIA. Everything that you have belongs to CIA. The CIA demands certain things, which is the job of the CIA. You are to surrender those things. Nothing really is yours. There is so many like yourself. You are asking me, what do you think I am? What I am? I'm not much. I'm nothing special. Really, I'm nothing special. But I am a little bit special. I managed to survive so long so that I can expose you the whole thing about the 9/11, what this was. And the people that were jumping in the fire from those towers, you motherfuckers, you couldn't even save me, bastards. You went on to kill me. You even went after me, pathetic bastards, and threatened me with I don't know what that it's gonna be and what's gonna be. I'm gonna say to you something about Christopher Wray. that I also completely missed on. This fucking guy was just all over the place, and it was just really for nothing really good. Whenever this fucking guy was, he was just, he's also implicated in this issue here. Christopher Wray was used literally for this issue here. Christopher Wray was also used for this issue. He knows exactly the stuff I'm talking about. This stuff here. Christopher Wray, it was Bill Clinton and George W. Bush who used Christopher Wray to, in a parenthesis, explain to me that if I would do the stuff that I do, and I don't know what the fuck is it that I do, really, the whole thing, you extorted it. You extorted this through the stuff, as I explained to you in this video. I'll be lucky if I survive this shit. You are fucking insane. It's a fucking lunacy, the distance that you have gone to, and with idea to get me killed. Christopher Wray was the one who explained to me that George Bush and Bill Clinton already repeated to me, if I will go and I will expose the 9/11 as I did, the whole thing, there will be no money. It will only be FBI, CIA, and so on. And the only thing that I can do is, because it's, of course, it's a George W. Bush and Bill Clinton that have the connections, the only thing I can do is I can wipe myself under the nose. There will be no money. And for that purpose, to explain to me that kind of issue, that type of crime, was none other than Christopher Wray, a good, strong friend of the Bill Clinton, the most honest guy you can imagine possibly, from Federal Bureau investigation. A strong old friend of the Bill Clinton, who explained to me that the only thing that will be in that case, it would be investigation. That's all there is to it. So all the money, all the trillions, everything gone off the picture. The connections reduced simply to what you see right there. The shortcut to the money. This is also the issue, exactly the one that I'm talking. George Bush is going to have to explain this together with Bill Clinton. Exactly the stuff I'm talking about will be gone. So now you have a complete with the facts, with the evidence, with the criminal evidence included, supported, documented case about your fucking 9/11. Who hired Barack Obama to get me killed? I would talk about Barack Obama, but Barack Obama is much of a too small fish to go after him. I am disgusted, repulsed by foremost this Germanic Europeans that are so down to earth yet. Frau Ursula von der Leyen, Frau Angela Merkel, the woman is human rights activist, the feminist. Some people call it feminazi. More likely to me too. It seems like I like feminists, but there is much not to like if you were in my skin when it comes to people like this here. So there you have it, the whole thing about the 9/11. Thanks for watching this video. I don't know how it's going to be this stuff with the next time. Yeah, there are crazy stuff that's happening. This Christopher Wray shit on how there'll be no money, there'll be just investigation that George Bush W commenced with the Bill Clinton. This shit is kind of identical to the stuff that I described, that they had Slovenian police in charge, in parentheses, for me to disclose the 9/11. Like the one that I documented here. I am just going to go briefly, and you can read this stuff. You can use the pause button, and you can read this stuff. I did not document this absolutely anywhere, but I think it's worthy to document. But it's basically the same issue. I mean, it's like you're going to do the investigation. You're going to do absolutely everything you're going to do, and you're going to be penniless. We're going to chase you with ambulance vehicles. We're going to assault you. We're going to possibly kill you. And you're going to do this basically for free, just so that investigation can be done. So I am not down with Mr. Christopher Wray about this stuff. Mr. Christopher Wray is going to have to explain a whole lot, including what Mr. Christopher Wray insisted will make Slovenian police heroes in my case. So he's going to make Slovenian police heroes in my case for doing damages to me. How many of you would you go and investigate a case like this under this type of circumstances? I bet none. Well, I did it. I did it. So that you can understand, so that you can see the swines, the murderers, the killers, the serial killers, assassins, sitting right at the top of your government. Actually, the whole world can see who the fuck as a nation collectively you are. I did it. And I did it to reveal in front of the world who you as an American are. That's why I did it. You can go, and what you can do is you can use a pause button, whatever. I am go over this stuff. This is identical shit. And again, Christopher Wray, every time he participated in this type of demoralization, craziness, madness stuff, like the fucking guy always somehow found his fucking way back on the picture to cause more damage. Literally. So I am going to do this, and I will scroll down and use the pause button, read this. Whichever way you know, you can also extract the text, and then you can read it in case you don't have the blog in front of you. I think it's worth it. I worked very hard to do this, and it's worthy for me to demonstrate this, because you're going to read this stuff, you're going to understand more about what MK Ultra is. By reading my blog, if you just happened ever to become a victim of MK Ultra, you are already guaranteed the chances of survival. They're not going to break you. If you watch this program and you start to understand the concept of MK Ultra, that's what actually MK Ultra is. You become indestructible. It's like I would give you a vaccine against MK Ultra garbage, against MK Ultra brainwash, and you become extremely resistant to the stuff that otherwise is used to kill people. This is very, very important stuff to understand. This is about the understandings. Vladimir Zelensky was used by Ursula von der Leyen, Merkel, Macron. I call him a Keir Starmer. Nigel Farage, every figure that you see, public individual that you see, to literally inside in a paranoia on how Ukraine is losing the war, Ukraine is falling behind. They were using Zelensky to threaten me with what it will be if you will talk against this George W. Bush and Clinton, and if you're going to discuss issues as in here, Ukraine is not going to get money, Ukraine is not going to get help. German merits insisted it's going to exit. They're not going to help us, Americans, and so on. We're going to lose the war. It's going to be all your fault. You get the drill? This is the fucking drill. This is the way it is. This is the way they were doing it. This is the way they did this stuff. And it's the same shit. You go, and what you do is you start to talk about Ukraine. You do your stuff. You expose the scum for what they are. And as soon as you start to talk about Ukraine, it's the people whom they selected to represent them. They start to gain the credibility against you by proving themselves on the war field against the Russia. So you are practically working against your existence when you support Ukraine under my circumstances. That's the way the Ukrainians organize themselves together with Americans, Germans, and others. These are very, very brilliant, very, very smart people that they are just a little bit fucked up in the head. Yeah, just look at that face. I mean, he didn't have to go to the distance to look so fucking crazy. He never looked crazier today. Just the real truth about what these people are capable to do to a good, caring person, as I was, as I cover up for them. I would even take the hit upon myself to spare them of what could potentially be the problems for them. And they started to even expect from me. They even started to expect from me this as a new normal. In return for death sentence through the psychiatric hospitalizations and cancerizing me through the autoimmune disorders which they practiced during MKUltra. So that's all I wanted to share with you. That's your fucking Christian Pope. Gain a big sympathies for this. It's too bad I was guilty for everything to this son of a bitch. Who, by the way, witnessed it, knew all about it, dressed up as a pope, couldn't do other than what you see right there. It was up to me to do everything, and when I did everything, they still wouldn't do anything. That's the way this is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching this. One more time, I'm going to give you a chance to read this over. So now, if you're ready, you're ready. Thanks for watching this video. Till next time, I'm going to scroll down, stop it, watch it, and that's the way it is. You have the text here. This Mercedes-Benz executive demanded from me to see myself in this animal right there that saves me just before I am destroyed. That German Daimler-Benz executive. That's the way this stuff is. That's a text, much bigger size, so that you can understand. And here are basically the videos. This girl that you see right there, a black girl that you see right there, that was a personal choice apparently from Barack Obama. Eric Holder, Barack Obama. That's how this stuff is. This is what this is. This year, this is gonna stay like this for some time, and I have some other surprise coming. This is yet another state-of-the-art video that I provided for you people to understand who it was, how it was, etc., etc. If you want MK Ultra proofs, all you do is you scroll yourself down here, and there are too many to count. That's not going to be some idiot in with numerous other proofs. I no longer even bother to post them here in this section that are on the blog. This whole fucking blog is just nothing other than proof. There was other videos also that I did not even bother to place over there. This is the page you're gonna go to get the proofs. That's a complaint to the U.S. Justice Department of State and stuff. They don't care about. So, that's the kind of stuff. If you want to go and you want to try out with me, this dispute maybe. All these approves, every one of those videos, you have the people giving their statements on my either identifying people, locations. There are at least as many proofs as listed here that are not listed here, or maybe even twice as many that are on the blog that are not listed here. So, now really, thanks for watching this video. Till next time. You are with me, Bastian Auser, Google Auser Times program. This is when I do a complete breakdown of MK Ultra bestiality, trauma-based, I should say, through a sleep deprivation, cardiovascular burnout, trauma-based MK Ultra procedure, brainwashing procedure, bestiality, really. Explain in depth for what it is. No books, no shit, no nothing, just hardcore witnessing.